During the night of December 11, 2006, Martin Marlo Hyland, a notorious figure in the world of crime, opted to spend the night at his niece's residence in Scribbletown Park, Finglas. Known for his extreme caution, Hyland never stayed at the same location for consecutive nights, spreading his presence across various properties. The following morning, just before 9 a.m., tragedy unfolded. Hyland's niece had departed to accompany her daughter to school when two assailants barged into the house. Hyland, still asleep in an upstairs bedroom, remained unaware of the impending danger. Meanwhile, Anthony Campbell, a 20-year-old apprentice plumber, was downstairs tending to a malfunctioning radiator. Upon their entry, one of the assailants subdued Campbell, while the other made their way silently upstairs. The result was devastating. Hyland met his demise in his bed, the victim of a fatal gunshot. Adding to the horror, the attackers didn't spare Campbell either, shooting him despite his innocence. This senseless act not only robbed Hyland of his life, but also stirred outrage within the community. It's evident that the assailants intended to eliminate any potential witnesses, as indicated by their ruthless actions towards Campbell. The incident left a lasting impact, showcasing the brutal reality of criminal activities and their repercussions on innocent bystanders. Let's delve into it. Marlo Hyland, hailing from Cabra, Dublin, rose to infamy within the city's criminal underworld prior to his untimely demise. Growing up in a working-class environment, he gravitated towards a life of crime from a young age, rallying youths from the northern suburbs to his cause. Despite facing legal troubles early on and a stint behind bars, his involvement in various illicit activities, notably the drug trade, solidified his status. This ascent reached new heights when he became the protege of PJ, dubbed the Psycho Judge, a notable figure in Finglas's criminal landscape. Under PJ's guidance, Hyland mastered intimidation and coercion, utilizing fear to assert dominance and rise within organized crime. Following PJ's demise, suspected to be orchestrated by Hyland himself, he inherited his mentor's mantle, consolidating his authority in the criminal hierarchy. Hyland swiftly enforced his rule with brutal efficiency, earning a reputation for unyielding ruthlessness and eliminating challengers to his supremacy. With extensive connections across Dublin's criminal factions, Hyland held considerable sway, facilitating firearm supplies to factions involved in the Crumlin-Drimnagh feud and aligning with the McCarthy-Dundon gang. These alliances bolstered his status, reinforcing his grip on power through fear and strategic partnerships. Following Judge's demise, Hyland swiftly rose to dominance, becoming the unrivaled kingpin of North Dublin, orchestrating or being linked to numerous murders and controlling a formidable gang engaged in diverse criminal enterprises. In just 10 months from October 2003 to July 2004, the gang orchestrated heists totaling approximately €3 million, showcasing their efficiency in lucrative criminal endeavors. As Marlo Hyland's criminal empire expanded, law enforcement focused on dismantling his operation, leading to the initiation of Operation Oak aimed at disrupting his network. This operation yielded substantial results, including seizures of drugs, recovery of stolen vehicles, significant cash sums, and a cache of weapons like AK-47s, dealing a significant blow to the illicit trade. The swift and decisive action undertaken by law enforcement underscored their determination to disrupt and dismantle Hyland's criminal enterprise, marking a significant milestone in the ongoing battle against organized crime in the region. The heightened scrutiny by law enforcement led to 26 of Marlo Hyland's associates facing serious charges, fostering resentment and paranoia within the gang. As Garda pressure increased, Hyland became increasingly isolated, with gang members blaming him for attracting unwanted attention. In the period preceding his tragic demise in 2006, Hyland aligned himself with notorious criminals like Patrick Dutchy Holland and Desi O'Hare, providing them refuge in safe houses upon their release from prison to enhance his standing in the criminal underworld. Hyland's pivot toward affiliating with more hardened criminals underscored his increasing desperation amid mounting legal pressures, but it also deepened his isolation within his own ranks, escalating tensions and contributing to subsequent tragedies. Despite his long-held belief in invincibility, Hyland confronted the stark reality of his mortality in the final months of 2006 as Garda issued an official warning about the imminent threat to his life. Meanwhile, the release of Hyland's trusted associates, John Mangan and Willie Hynes, on bail added to his challenges, with Mangan's involvement in significant drug seizures further complicating matters. In a brief span, Mangan and Hynes were implicated in major drug busts, totaling millions of euros, intensifying the pressure on Hyland's crumbling empire. The discovery of cannabis resin hidden in a Ford Transit van and an Opel Astra in a discreet car park marked a significant seizure, highlighting the mounting pressure on Hyland before his downfall and exposing cracks in his once impenetrable facade. Despite facing serious charges, John Mangan and Willie Hynes were granted freedom until trial, yet their involvement in the drug bust triggered widespread paranoia within Hyland's gang, breeding suspicion and doubts about Hyland's allegiance. This internal turmoil escalated, ultimately leading to Hyland's demise in late 2006, followed by a thorough Gardai investigation targeting individuals associated with him in the aftermath of the double homicide. As the investigation progressed, suspicions quickly turned towards members of Hyland's own inner circle. Within a remarkably short span of time, the gunmen responsible for Hyland's murder were identified as John Mangan and Willie Hynes. However, despite the mounting evidence against them, they were never formally charged in connection with the double homicide, leaving lingering questions about the true motivations behind the crime and the precise dynamics at play within Hyland's criminal network. Merely 8 months following the tragic deaths of Hyland and Campbell, John Mangan found himself in the grip of law enforcement once again. He was apprehended with a loaded Luger pistol concealed in his trousers while at the Comet pub in Santry. 2 years elapsed before Mangan faced trial, a proceedings marked by dramatic twists, ultimately resulting in his conviction on all charges. The presiding judge delivered a stern sentence of 14 years for Mangan and 12 years for Hynes. As Mangan's release date approaches, apprehension mounts regarding his conduct behind bars. Known for his volatile demeanor, he has garnered a notorious reputation as one of the most menacing inmates within the Irish prison system. Over time, numerous accounts have circulated detailing his erratic behavior, particularly his attempts to establish communication with individuals associated with Marlo Hyland or his affiliates, often resorting to confrontational tactics. In 2021, on the verge of his release after nearly 14 years behind bars, the 55-year-old Mangan made a regrettable choice. Despite being transferred to Logan House, an open prison designated for inmates nearing the conclusion of their sentences, he absconded. After several weeks of evasion, he was apprehended while recklessly operating a high-powered motorbike during a high-speed chase. As a consequence of his actions, Mangan found himself returned to a high-security correctional facility. Not only did he incur an additional sentence, but he also forfeited the privileges associated with being housed in an open prison environment. This turn of events further prolonged his time behind bars and underscored the repercussions of his ill-advised decision to flee custody. Following the double murder of Hyland and Campbell, suspicions quickly fell upon two of Hyland's most trusted associates, yet no one has been brought to justice for the heinous crime. In the aftermath of the killings, Eamon the Don Dunne, another prominent figure in Finglas's criminal underworld and a close confidant of Hyland, assumed control of the gang. Dunne, like Hyland, had ties to the Kinahan cartel, operating from outside Ireland at the time. Remarkably, on the eve of Hyland's assassination, he and his cohorts were esteemed guests at a boxing match hosted by the Kinahans. However, it's believed that Dunne orchestrated the betrayal of his former ally, facilitating the execution and even acting as the getaway driver for Hyland's assailants. In the ensuing 3 years, Dunne found himself embroiled in more than a dozen gangland slayings before meeting his own demise at a pub in Cabra in April 2010. At the time of his death, Dunne was out on bail and awaiting trial for his alleged involvement in a €900,000 heist of a cash-in-transit van in Selbridge. While suspicions abound regarding the Kinahans' potential role in Dunne's assassination, no one has been held accountable for the crime. As we wrap up today's discussion, we invite you to share your thoughts on this gripping topic in the comments section below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more intriguing content in the future.